You saw how we were able to make up graphics to actually bring the coin in. We didn't have to go into an external program. We were actually able to make the coin in Gdevelop. So it's nice. If you want to go to an external program, you can, or you can make graphics inside of Gdevelop itself. Gdevelop does the same thing with sound, which is spectacular. So see, this says choose audio file to use. What we're going to do is left click here. And then see, this says create, edit a sound with JFXR. So we're going to left click on that text. And now we have this sound editor here that allows us to make up sounds right inside of Gdevelop, which I think is spectacular. Then we even have these things right here, common things that you would expect or need, for sound. So we have this pick up a coin. And when we click that, we get the pick up a coin sound. If we click it again, now we get a different sound. So this is very cool, very easy, very quick to use. Spectacular that this is right here in Gdevelop. So your basic sound effect, you don't have to stress about it. It's right here. This is spectacular. So what we're going to do is we're going to name this coin sound. And then we're going to left click on save, right? And now from making that sound file, we can see it right here. And now what we can do is click OK. And we see this code here now, play the sound coin sound wave, right? And let me go back into this. We actually don't want this to loop. So it says repeat the sound. We want to select no. So then I'll click OK. And then let's click the preview button. And you can see that. Very cool. So our sound is working when we collect our coins. Okay, so on to the next step. And what is the next step? We're going to go to game 1, and we are going to go to this plus, the right side of our screen. And what we want to do is go to text. So we're going to left click on text. We have these options for text. We're going to go up to object name. We're going to name this coin text. We're going to change this size to let's change it to 50. This will just make our text bigger. And we'll name this score. And we'll leave the color as white because we have a gray background. We should still be able to see it. So we'll left click on apply. Okay, now what we want to do is left click and drag out this text onto our screen. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to pan the view. I'm then going to drag this text down into view. Okay, so one of the things is let's click the preview button. When we move to the side, you see how we're leaving our text behind. We don't want that, so we're going to left click on that X. And the way we can fix that is we can make a layer, a new layer for this score. The way Gdevelop works is when you start off, everything is on the base layer. So when you look here, I'm selected on the score, and you can see these options right here in our properties panel. See where it says layer? We're on the base layer, right? What we want to do is go to this button near the top right, and this is our layers button right here. We're going to left click on that button, and we can see here's our base layer right here. What we want to do is click this plus button. We're going to make a new layer. We just did that. When we hit that plus button, it's just called layer. We're going to change this to capital UI, which stands for user interface. It can be whatever name you want it to be. It doesn't have to be just that. We're going to left click, or we didn't have to. We actually want to click on this X right here. Now what we want to do is click on our score text here. And then now see where it says base layer here? It's telling you, this layer is saying this score is on the base layer. We want this to be on the UI layer we just made. So we're going to click right here. It looks like a little gray triangle. And then we're just going to select UI. So now the score is on the UI layer. And when we put the score in the UI layer, this UI layer will make it so our score is always in view. So we'll click our launch preview button. Here's our score there. And now you can see that our score just pretty much stays in place, which is what we want. So we'll just left click on this X to get out of our preview. Okay, now let's set it up so that when we actually collect these coins, our score goes up. So we're going to click on Game Events 1. In this same event, we're going to go to Add Action. We're going to look to where we see all these menus here, right? In Gdevelop, there are, what we're about to do is we're about to use a variable. When using variables, you can use a number variable, a string variable, or a Boolean variable. There's also object variables, scene variables, as well as global variables. If we click common actions for all, we'll see another variables in there option. We don't want that. That'll give us an object variable. We want a scene variable. So we're going to go to this variables right here, left click here, and then select value of a variable. And that gives us a scene variable. We're going to go to this blue button. We're going to click the plus right here. We're going to change this. We're going to make our name for the variable be score. And then we're going to make this variable be equal to 0. So then we're going to left click on apply. We could have put in score right here. We declared a variable right there. There's certain benefits for that. Since we declared that variable there, what we can do now is we can left click and select score, which is our variable. Our variable is equal to 0. What we want to happen is when we get a coin, we want our coin to give us the benefit of adding a score. So we're going to left click here. We're going to select add to, and then we're going to make this be 10. Then we're going to click OK. So basically what's going on is we're saying the condition basically says when something happens, and then it says what to do when that thing happens. So when the player collides with the coin, delete an object of the coin, play the sound, and then add 10 to that variable, which is the score. Okay, we need to be able to see the score actually changing. So this is all one event right here. We're going to need another event, and that other event is going to show us the score actually changing. So we're going to click here. See how the blue outline is around like this whole thing? So now we're going to left click on add a new empty event. And this new empty event is not going to have a condition. It's going to go, so we're going to go to add action. We're scrolling down and we are looking for text object. We want to modify the text, so we're going to left click on modify the text. This is the text we want to modify, so we're going to left click there. And then for this, we want this to, we want an equal sign for right here. So we're going to click equal set to. Now for this, we need a particular line of code. I know in a lot of game engines, they say no code, and that could mean multiple different things to multiple different people. To me, putting in code means typing in letters and numbers, all right? So one of the things I can tell you about Gdevelop is it requires an extremely minimum amount of what I would consider code. I mean, extremely minimal. However, I would consider what we're about to do here a small bit of code. Though I will say, I think that Gdevelop has, if not the most, almost the least amount of code needed to put in to make a game engine work, particularly with how many different things that Gdevelop does and as well as it does them. Anyway, what we're going to do to get this text, and this is something very cool that Gdevelop does, and maybe there is a way to actually not type anything in, but this is very cool. So normally we could actually, if we know exactly the text to put in, we can just type that out right here, or we can go to here. So what we're going to do is click here. We're going to go up to conversion. We're then going to go to number greater than text. And then now what we want to do is we're going to type in variable, and that's a capital V. It's very important that you put a capital V in here, okay? Capital V. So it's variable, parentheses, score, which is the name of our variable, right? And then with that text entered in, we're going to click done. Okay, so now we have this right here. Now what we want to do is we want to click to the front of this code right here, and we want to put our actual text that we want the score to say. So we're going to hold shift, we're going to put in quotation, we're going to put in score, space, quotation, not quotation, colon, and then quotation, space, all right, it's very important. Hold shift plus, then another space. So in between these quotations, this score, as well as the space, as well as the colon, it's what's going to show up. And then this code right here is basically allowing us to be able to see the score actually going up. So with that done, we're going to click on OK. Okay, so what we're going to do now is click on the Launch a Preview of the Scene button. And then now when we press our right arrow key, collect our coins, you can see that the score is going up. Okay guys, that's it for the tutorial. If you like this video, please give this video a like. If you really like it, please share it with your friends. And if you like the videos on this channel, you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.